Bell rolls is the reporter thrown into the secretive world of the Forex Super Model, where nothing is as it seems. Beware the techno-monk, and steer clear of Professor Code and his two assistants. Give the senior trader a wide berth, and don't expect any sense from the risk manager.
Hello, I'm the senior trader at the Forex Super Model, and this is the Trading Psychology series, part 7, Trading with the Ykb Principle. Now, Ykb stands for You Know Best. No. Now, what we're trying to do is for you to develop self-reliance and mental strength. Now, there are several steps that you can take, and we're going to run through them. The first thing is you need to develop, paradoxically, the cynical mindset. So how do you develop a cynical mindset? And cynicism, which is tough to spell if you've had my education. Cynicism then is an inclination to believe that people are motivated purely by self-interest. Now, does that ring a bell in the markets at all? So possibly. So cynicism is people being motivated by self-interest. And then there was actually, it goes way back, cynicism actually, it goes back to the so-called the Cynics. Yeah, Cynics. And the Cynics was a school of Greek philosophers who tried to actually live a so-called cynical lifestyle. Now that's just a bit of background for you, but at the end of the day, the gist of it was they wanted to be at one with nature, and they rejected society's norms, and usually they were viewed as a little bizarre and out there, really. So that's the Cynics, which was the school of philosophers from ancient Greek. And then sort of linked to that is this other situation called Skepticism. Again, schism, right, just about hanging in there on the spelling. And this basically is doubt as to the truth of something. So we've got cynicism, which is people acting their own interests, and skepticism, which is doubting the truth of something. Well, have you ever doubted an analyst, or have you ever doubted a piece of data? Right, so and then of course a more modern take on this is the three great lies, which the first of which is there's a check in the post. The second of which is, of course, I'll still love you in the morning, darling. And the third, which is, I have to check it out, is, oh yes, we're from head office, we're here to help. Now they're the three great modern lies, and if you link that in with what we're talking about. So let's create a structure then, how we can sort this out. So let's get rid of this. Right. So away we go. So this is developing the cynical trading mindset. Right, so developing the cynical trading mindset. So there's a number of steps that we've identified that can help you along this path. Now, the first one is, number one is have an opinion. Basically, have an opinion on absolutely everything. Be very opinionated. Now, you may not think initially this is a good idea, but it is, because what your brain does is it's used to sitting on the fence. Read the average analyst report and you can read a page and a half of bump, and if you really sit back and say, well, what have they said? Well, they've basically said this may happen, or this may happen, and it's usually a complete binary choice, and they lay out an argument, but they don't really lay out an argument, and they just sit on the fence. It's back to this leafy lane argument where the leaves down a lane are blown one way and then the breeze blows them back. Avoid that. It's no good for your trading brain. Your trading brain needs to be developed along the lines of clarity and resolution, and you can do that by having an opinion on everything. So whatever, when the news comes on, have an opinion on every item, whether it's good, bad or indifferent. So that's the first thing. And the second one is disbelieve everything disbelieve everything you've read, seen, whatever, and question it. So this is the question part. Now, critical thinking requires questioning and context. So have an opinion on everything. Be the pub bore, be the know-it-all, because that will be opening up your brain to making decisions further down the line. Now, disbelieve everything. Now that's back to this sort of cynical situation. So, and we are actually developing the cynical trading mindset. So that's number 2. Number 3. Read between the lines. Now there's clues out there when you're looking at information. There's all sorts of clues hidden in between the main data and in what people are saying. Now a recent example, for example, was here in the UK, and I read an article. Well, it's a big tradition in the UK to have the Queen's speech on Christmas Day. It's pre-recorded, 3 o'clock. Everybody sort of collapses in front of the telly and watches the Queen's pre-recorded speech, which is basically a sort of a roundup of the year. Now I read about a week ago that the Queen's speech was being altered and was going to be more uplifting. Now, interestingly, about 2 days later, we had the Tier 4 lockdown, and our council was our Christmas was effectively cancelled in terms of people travelling to other areas of the country. So you can see that if you read between the lines, you could just say, well, so what? The Queen's speech is being altered, but and to a more uplifting nature. Now, if you were switched on and you could think to yourself, well, why would they be doing that? There's a reason, and the reason clearly was that we were going to get a good pasting from Tier 4 and have our Christmas effectively kiboshed. So that's something else. So that's the first 3. Let's crack on. And remember, the purpose of all these is to train your mind in the trading environment. So number 4 then. Number 4 is twist and rubbish the evidence. Now, depending on your background, wherever your educational and working background, this may be a skill that you're familiar with. So when evidence comes before you, your aim is to turn it around and sort of degrade the level of evidence so that you can make your case. Now this may seem a complete nonsense to do, but actually it's what it's doing, it's creating new channels in your mind, and whatever information is put in front of you, you need to sort of turn it around, twist it, and sort of degrade it in a sense. So if Germany's knocking out strong data and they're just about to go into lockdown, that would be an example of twisting and rubbishing the evidence. So you can sort of think about that. So that's number 4. Number 5 is who is grinding the axe. Right. So number 5 is who is grinding the axe and why, really. So, who's telling you this? Why are they telling you this? And this is the whole principle of this sort of feeds into our cycle of cynicism. So, when someone comes up to you and says, I think you should do this, this, and this, this is what you should be thinking about. Why are they telling me this? What axe have they got to grind? In other words, how is it going to benefit them? Which feeds back into this cynical idea. So it's a sort of a circular argument, if you like. Now, number 6 is reverse engineering. Number 6 is reverse engineering. So this is basically starts with the solution. Now, when I was much younger and doing stuff at school, the first thing I always wanted when I was looking at science, and I did quite a lot of sciences. I was physics, chemistry, not so much biology, apart from looking at girls, but physics, chemistry and mathematics. The first thing I did when I got hold of a textbook was went to the back of it and saw whether it had the answers. This used to drive everybody mad, but I recognised even in those early days that the fastest way to learn and to check your results is to start with the answer and work backwards. So start with the solution and reverse engineer it, and that way your mental processes are much quicker and they're also heightened in a way. So how do we relate that to the markets? Well, what is the answer? Price action. So it's not so much back testing, because back testing has, we could talk about, and we probably will do a video on back testing, but back testing to a degree, what is the answer in front of you, and therefore how does that affect your thought process in getting to that answer? So that's number, 6, right? So let's carry on. Right, number 7. So what is 7? Hang on, this chalk shrunk a bit because I keep breaking it. Right, number 7. Then the other question you need to ask yourself is the information operational, tactical, or strategic. Right, so operational information is like day to day. Tactical information is basically looking at, so it's sort of game style, you're gaming other people. Another thing we can talk about at some other stage. And strategic is a longer term view, so an overview. Right, so is the information operational, tactical or strategic? Why is that important? Well, because it feeds back into our cynical mindset. If it's tactical, it's definitely on the cynical radar, because people are doing things to develop a positional situation where they can benefit. Now, operational data, day-to-day data, maybe economic calendar stuff coming out, and strategic long-term view, maybe things like central banker speeches, etc. So that's where you're creating this framework. Then think of information and data in terms of whether it's operational, tactical or strategic, and then feed it back into your cynical mindset. Now, number 8. Number 8. Right. Degrade the trading environment with slang. Now, what do we mean by that then? So, create your own language for trading. Obvious examples are that people have done. They've created. These are Mickey Mouse ones, but they've called GBP USD cable. That's sort of a slang. That's a technical slang, if you like. And then there's like the Kiwi, the Looney, all that. But these are all very basic. Create your own languages. You know, we like the chuff, Swiss franc, and there's obviously, it depends who's around as to how foul-mouthed your slang is, but create the slang. And the advantages of this is you're bringing the information down to your mental level and your structure, which is very, very important when you're opening up your trading mind. You're taking higher level concepts and bringing them down to the pub level, if you like, after 8 pints of whatever. So you're creating an environment which is more under your control, and it all adds up to the cynical mindset. So that's number 8. What have we got now? So number 9. Number 9 then. What have we got? Right, think. Right, I've got to spell this again. Asymmetric. Asymmetric. And this is basically lacking symmetry. Now, the analysts will tell you X, Y, and Z is going to happen, and therefore, there's going to be a well, they won't even talk in transmissions, we talk in transmissions, but anyway, think asymmetric. Classic example of this is the Brexit situation we're under. The whole weight of this Brexit situation seems to have been asymmetrically put onto the UK. We have the problem, we're leaving, there's no response in the EU in terms of what's going to happen to it. It's all our problem. We're going to lose access to the level playing field. It's all, we're going to lose all our factories, we're going to X, Y, and Z. Now, there's a completely asymmetric response to this. Now, this is obviously complete rubbish, because as if we take back control of our fisheries, then the Spanish and French and whoever are going to start freaking out, and there's a negative externality, we call it, in terms of this situation. So, and if we don't have access to the level playing field, single market, then the likelihood is that there will be a switch in consumption demand away from our love affair with the German cars, which will absolutely hammer Merkel's and her brigade. So this sort of mindset of Brexit's our problem, GBP, every bit of bad news hammers the GBP. That is clearly, from a logical perspective, incorrect. And there's an asymmetric response, and therefore you create advantages in the trading world, not just looking at this item in general. But there's a lot of examples of asymmetric response where analysts just decide it's just going to be negative for one side, and everything else goes to hell in a handcart. Right. So at number 10. What have we got here? Yes, and this is obviously, it's nice to have a round number, and this is number 10. Treat, if I can spell it, treat analysts with contempt. And this comes back to, what was it? What number was it? Number 5. Who is grinding the axe and why? So there's a circularity in all these things, and analysts particularly have an axe to grind. They're either pushing a particular view, suppressing something, or they're pumping something up. So that feeds into our cynical mindset. So what we'll do then, we'll just have a quick roundup of the top 10. And so how do we create a cynical mindset? The first thing we do is we have an opinion on everything. We become the pain in the neck the know-it-all. Number 2, we disbelieve everything. Okay, number 3, we read between the lines. Queen's speech, etc. Number 4, we twist and rubbish the evidence. Okay, we degrade the environment, if you like. Number 5, we ask ourselves who's grinding the axe and why. Number 6, we reverse engineer everything. So we start with the solution, or we try to start with the solution and work backwards. Number 7, is the information operational, tactical, or strategic? Useful in terms of our overall cynical overview. Number 8, we degrade the trading environment with slang. Apart from anything else, it's amusing. So number 9, we think in terms of asymmetric responses. Are they correct? Is this Brexit asymmetric response correct, for example? And number 10, we treat all analysts with contempt. Obviously not Forex Super Model analysts, because we're different. But anyway, so, and what's the end game of this? Well, the purpose of this is the end game is self-reliance and mental strength. Right, so that's what we're after. We're after self-reliance and mental strength in the markets, and we can create that through this 10-point approach to developing a cynical trading mindset. And the coming back to the title, YKB, you know best. Now, that they used to have a president of the United States, I forget which one it had a little sign above his desk saying the buck stops here. Well, you could have a sign above your desk saying YKB, you know best. So make sure you do know best and achieve that via this developing a cynical trading mindset. Hope that was useful. See you for future videos. Thank you very much.